There are some very selfish actors who take advantage of certain roles when they are given maybe wanakatia dem and then wanamkatia for real. Sasa wanasahau character, then they start doing it for real.
Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. My name is Cheptoek Boyo and today we have Wakio Mzenge, who's an actor, a director and a producer for both stage and screen. Karibu sana Wakio.
Asante sana, nashukuru.
Bayo nzito.
Ni Mungu tu.
Sasa Wakio,
yes.
Where were you born and raised?
So I was born in Mombasa. I was raised in Mombasa. I went to school in St. Augustine's Preparatory School.
Okay.
Alafu nikarukishwa nikapelekwa Nakuru County. Went for my high school in Moi Forces Academy Lanet.
Hey, military.
Alafu nikarukishwa tena nika-stick to Moi. Nikaenda Moi University in Uasin Gishu County. And then I started working in Nairobi, but I live in Kajiado. And I pretty much work in any county.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Multi.
Nafakuwa inter-county representative.
Yes,
Wakianzisha hiyo
nitavai. You should be, because I think you have a taste of each county.
Most counties, yes.
So now in Moi University, what did you pursue?
I studied English and Literature, Bachelor of Education Arts. At the same time, I was very much interested in media. So I got a job at Sayar FM. I started hosting a show called Badilika. It was a midnight show. And I think I was just trying to complement and see nikimaliza how I can be able to join media, because that was kind of the plan.
Because I think niliona kwa bio yako, you were also working with French International Radio.
Radio France International, yes.
Yes. So why make that shift from radio to now purely screen and stage acting?
Well, the passion initially was always to be an artist. But, you know, zile siku zetu tukizaliwa, tukilelewa, artistry was not really something that people thought would be a career you can pursue. So for me, nilikuwa nafikiria tu njia ambazo naweza ku mix and match everything together that I love doing. And so I did teaching, but I ended up in media. And when I was in media, it was interesting because I was doing very artsy kind of shows. I did game shows, and then with the Radio France International, nafanya kipindi inaitwa Bonjour Culture. And Bonjour Culture is basically a magazine show. So I would attend a lot of events. I would interview a lot of artists. And so it was basically gelling into the grand picture, which was to be an artist eventually. So it's not really a shift. It's maybe call it a transition.
A continuation?
Absolutely. You said it.
Now, how good is your French? Because I'm assuming for you to work for French radio, you must be...
Well, at that time, the show was done by myself and Bilo Didi, and it was an English show. We had a little bit of French there, but I was also studying French at that point. And nilifanya to level 1. Nikafanya mtihani, nikapita. But yeah, je parle français, mais très un peu.
Accent nzuri sana.
When you're nailo French, umejua nimesema nini?
Sijui umesoma nini.
Très un peu, there's just a little.
Oh, just a little
just
French.
Just a little French, yes.
Hey, but accent mzito.
Oh, thank
Pia
you.
Nilikuona umerelease song Nazama. Ulifikaje kwa
kudigin yani? So nikiwa mdogo, my mom tells me. So first of all, mimi nilizaliwa. I tell people this, that was my very first performance. I was born at 5 kilos by a very petite woman. And so I've always considered my birth as my first performance. And my mom really nurtured performance in me, because alikuwa tukienda naye ma meetings zake za wanawake za church ni nini, alikuwa nani kuna mtoto wangu hapa yuweza kuimba, nenda uimbe, Nenda useme memory verse nini, and I think that really played a big role in building my confidence. So nilianza kuimba nikiwa mdogo sana, and I remember she tells me the first time I really performed in front of people was when I was 3, and it was her younger brother's wedding. So kuimba nilikuwa nimeimba toka nikiwa mtoto, and wakati saa zile nimemaliza uni, nilikuwa nishafanya radio, nishafanya acting hivi, bado najitafuta, nikasema awacha nitoe wimbo. And that's how I ended up releasing Nazama. And I remember telling my partner then, nikamwambia, mimi nataka tu mtu mmoja apate kuchange kwa sababu ya wimbo. Then I got tons of people who kept following that song. In fact, I was being called by Mary Mwikali akiniambia, we were jamming to your song the other day, you have new likes and new subscribers. And I'm like, it went far and beyond my expectations, lakini garama
industry ngumu.
I know the weird thing is that at that point I was actively in media, but still getting the song to be played,
it's a hassle.
It was a hassle. I got comments of it's way ahead of its time, or we don't really understand what you're talking about, or sijui Afro rock is not really what is happening right now. So obstacles zilikuwa nyingi, nikasema kufa gari kufa dereva. Wacha nimalize niende zangu. Never did another song ever again.
Will you ever do another song?
Maybe. I can't rule it out. Maybe.
Because kama iko ahead of its time, I think pia, because I believe in God, I think God has the best timing for stuff to happen. So zingine tuna push.
Yes.
We are pushing and it's not that time.
It's interesting you say that.
It's good to have you opposed.
Actually, very interesting you say that. I was having this conversation with Julie Saro yesterday about so my pastor, who's the MD of Fred's Ranch, is called Victor Machoka, and Victor was teaching us about the king and the palace and the people that need to be in the palace. So sorry if I'm digressing.
No, you're not digressing.
But then he said something. He's talked about different people that need to be in your palace, but then he mentioned about 3 wise men that need to be in your palace. And these 3 wise men include one that is spiritual, a spiritual wise man. And basically a spiritual wise man is someone who knows the timings, the right time to release a song, the right time to start a podcast, the right time to take up that job, the right time to align yourself to certain things. And you need such kind of people in your life so that they can be able to guide you in terms of times and seasons.
Yeah.
There's other 2 that I will not talk about because anyway, I was just wanting to talk about that timing. That it's really important.
Since you mentioned 3,
okay,
continue.
So 3. So the second one is a politics wise man. And this politics wise man basically just understands the nitty-gritties of what is happening where. So mtu wako udaku anajua tu tukipeleka hii product pale hapo ndo inauza, so you need to have someone who understands the politics of your craft or the politics of your business. And then the third person is an expert wise man, someone who actually knows the business more than you do, knows the palace more than you do, and knows your craft more than you do. So an expert in the things that you are pursuing. So if for me, like an actor, I need to surround myself with someone who has probably, because I haven't studied theater, someone who's study theater, someone who understands theater, someone who's an expert at it. Because even given with my talent, I need someone to shape me and chisel me around and show me this is the direction that your craft needs to go. A new word that I learned 2 weeks ago is called a dramaturg. Dramaturg. I hope I said it right, guys. Dramaturg. Someone actually chisels you. Yeah, you need that.
Plus a good ecosystem that you've just mentioned.
Correct.
Now, on Selina, you played this evil woman who is contrary to yourself. What are some of the feedback?
Maybe I'm evil.
No. From the 3 points, I already know a quarter of you or an eighth of you. What are some of the feedbacks you get?
So, first of all, I honestly do not think that there's any person who is born and becomes an adult saying and having an ambition of being evil, having the desire to just hurt people. I think it comes from the environment and the society. And even how I tackled Mama Selina, I honestly used to feel like there's something that must have happened to this woman to turn her the way she is. And in my own backstories and trying to create this character for myself, I felt like she has constantly been ignored by people that she thought would give her the attention she deserves, probably from her parents, and then trickled into this husband. And probably that's why she ends up with someone who already had another first love. And you're just like, you're trying to replace this person, and you're constantly in battle with this ghost of a human being that you never met, who you do not even understand how she carried herself. On top of it, she left evidence of their relationship with this child, and who's constantly in your face. And I think the bitterness for her kept growing and growing, and I feel like her husband really never got to address that. So I never really carried her as a purely evil person who has no good in them, but just a normal person who was handling some issues, and she was not handling them very well.
Someone who's a victim of
of her own circumstances, yes. And she's not been able to overcome them, and she's trying the most weird of things to try and get to herself to a better place. Having said that, yes, I did get really a lot of backlash, and it's not just about her being evil. I remember when the show was starting out, there was a lot of backlash on the exaggerative nature of the character I was playing. She was a bit over the top. Even in terms of my performance, it was always over the top. Like, I would do big expressions. I would speak, in a funny way. I would walk in an exaggerated manner. But that character really needed that. But I got a lot of backlash in terms of my performance. That those people were telling me, "Oh, come on, act better. You can't be, like that." And then eventually, once they started understanding this is Christina, not really Wakio as a performer, but Christina really carries herself in this manner. She got embraced even more. Then came the Yamani, Tosha, you are doing too much. You are doing the most with this, why are you revenging this girl? What did this girl ever do to you? In fact, I would meet people who would be like, "Hey, achana na Selina, umemtesa sana."
And they don't know it's the script, but you are just delivering your part.
Guys are so invested in these stories, which goes to show that the performers have really brought a lot of authenticity to the craft. And so when you see these audiences or members of the public stopping you and feeling that you are that character, then you know that you've done the job. It could get dangerous. Someone could actually slap you. Watch your
just being personal.
It could get personal, but I did receive a lot of feedback in terms of the aggression and the spite that I had against Selina. We're good friends though, Celestine and I.
Yeah. Now, your co-actors, Celestine and Pascal Tokodi, they carried the show for more than 6 seasons. And these are not short seasons where it's only 1 episode per week. This is the whole week.
It's a long format kind of show, yes.
On television. What did you learn from the two of them?
Oh, so I didn't quite interact with Pascal Tokodi a lot on set, but off set, of course, we would interact quite a bit. With Celestine, I think I really did we did work together for most parts, especially the first 2-3 seasons. We did work together a lot. And I think there is a level of resilience and determination and the hunger of newness and freshness that I would see with them with every season. And every new cast would come in, and then they would have to respond differently to this new cast member. And I felt like there was that determination to bring the freshness and the newness to the show. And this actually just doesn't come from the actors themselves, because people really get fatigued after doing something for so long. It's the same environment, the same crew, the same people, the same damn food. It's just over and over again. But I think it comes from management as well. I think the production house was very keen to make people feel comfortable, make people feel renewed by doing these small activities. We did have sports day between ourselves and Kina. We did, and it didn't just happen once. We did have, like devotion time. We did have random meetings, nyama choma. All this would allow the actors to rejuvenate and bring some level of freshness. And I applaud Moulton for that.
Yeah. Hey, that was exciting.
It was. After a while, people get like, ugh.
Yeah, because same routine.
Exactly.
County 49.
Ooh.
Governor mwenyewe hapo hivyo. Did you audition for that particular role?
I think we auditioned for every roles.
Ah.
Oh my God. Introduce me to the people who don't audition.
No, I'm saying for the governor role. Or you went in for something else and then you switched.
Oh yeah. So I went in for Ox's wife's role. So the role that was played by Angie. That was what I had gone to audition for. And then after, I think my first audition, I was asked to try out the monologue, the rioting and the speech in the rally as for Governor Nerima. And so I tried it. And I was really, I think when just reading that script, I was really feeling that role. And I was like, oh my God. This feels much better than the role I just auditioned for. And I think the beauty of it is that the performance at the audition was supposed to be a monologue. And so you're really feeling, I think there's a level of confidence when it's just by yourself and that you don't actually need to have chemistry with someone else during your audition for you to get that role. And I think that's one of the things that usually I'm constantly battling, because you don't know the person you'll go in, how you'll be able to gel. You don't know the person that you'll be cast with, how you'll be able to gel. And sometimes it just gives you some level of confidence when it's all on you. So you better do it right. And if you flunk, it's on you. You can't set a tioni nani bana yule akunipa vizuri ama nini. You can't side blame. You can't side blame anyone. It's purely on you. And I think that audition for me went pretty well. I got the role, so.
Did they tell you on the spot or a callback?
God, do I remember? I think it wasn't the day, because once you audition the people who were also leaving, and then eventually we were left and were told we had the roles. But also, there's that thing of trying to match you also with certain characters, even if you don't have, because I didn't have any child. I had only a brother. Did I have a brother? We spoke about him. We didn't really meet him per se, but because I was being cast by certain people, also they needed to look like, would you fit? If we say you're in a relationship with this person, is it possible to the naked eye? And one thing that I was told by Karen much later is that they felt that I looked a bit young for that role on the time they were auditioning me. And so they had to go through my Instagram to find out if there's a possibilities of me to look much older than I appeared. And they realized that when I wear blue, apparently, I look much older. Yeah, so the colors around Governor Nerima were around blues. There were a lot of blues.
Oh, wow.
Even her office was absolutely blue.
So much detail. I didn't know they were
people think a performance is just you're surely chapo, but there's intricate details that the production has to go through, and part of it was to make sure that the age looked right. And I was really honored that they took the time to go through my Instagram to make sure that I could perfectly fit that role as they had desired.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the changes you had to do for this role?
For Governor Nerima?
Governor Nerima, yes.
So changes from what exactly?
In terms of developing the role and the character itself.
Okay, so I wouldn't term them as changes per se. I would just talk about my preparedness for this particular character. So every role that I'm given, I usually start thinking about the backstories. I think it's very important for me to know the motivations of this character, why she walks and talks the way she does, why she behaves in the manner that she behaves, and why she interacts with certain people, the choices that she makes throughout the script. And so these little backstories is what I focus on. And so I drafted my own stories. I created memories of happiness, of sadness, of family, of and some of the things were also provided by the script. For instance, how she had a relationship with Ox. We never see it throughout the show. We just hear about it. But I pictured, like, and I remember during the premiere, I kept telling people, I think Nerima was quite a naughty one. Because I imagined, like, she got pregnant during the war, and my picture, I don't know if this is PG rated, but my picture was like, they're in the war, guns are blaring, and this whatever, and she's under a trunk, maybe inside the trunk with Ox getting pregnant, and like, even when we were shooting it, I always came to set feeling some level of sexiness, which is not really how Governor Nerima is looked at.
Yeah.
But I think at some point when Governor Nerima revealed that she's been having a romantic relationship with the deputy, I think that came out a little bit like, oh, she naughty.
Guys start seeing that side of you.
And it's because I was building it with my stories and how I even was carrying myself on set, and when I was coming on set, how I was dressing when I was coming before I dress up for Nerima. I was really trying to carry that naughtiness in her, which, is something else. You see, when you are developing your character, all these things are not privy to the audience, and they may never actually get to see them, just as yourself. There's some things about you that we'll never get to know, but they really inform the way you behave somehow. So that's how the backstories were helping me to bring character for Nerima.
Nice. Now, on Igiza.
Oh, Lord.
And
what's chamomile tea.
You work closely with Ainia Ojiambo.
Correct.
How is he like?
Oh, wow.
Because I have worked with him on a different work thing in the media space. And he's a very funny character. But I want to know your side of working with him.
Okay. Wow. I never expected that question. But Inea is a very committed actor. I think that's one thing that I really got out of him. His level of preparedness. He's one person whose script will never be clean. He's always written stuff, and that's why he would get really emotional or pissed off when scenes are changed, because he's prepared for certain things. He's very meticulous with his work, and he thinks through. And I love that he's also a bit naughty.
Yes.
Especially on Igiza, because he was quite a molester on Igiza. And his way of preparing his co-actor is to get them into that mood of, I'm here, I'm going to do something in this scene. But one thing I love about him is that he would prepare you for what he was going to do. He's not going to catch you off guard. He's not going to try and, also take advantage, because there are some very selfish actors who take advantage of certain roles when they're given maybe wanakatia dem and then wanamkatia for real. Sasa wanasahau character, then they start doing it for real. Or sijui ulikuwa nafaa, like you're having a romantic moment with someone, and it's those characters having a romantic moment. And I kept telling people, like, the way Governor Nerima kissed the deputy is not the way Wakio would have kissed her husband or anyone else, or even the person himself, Makbul, for instance. I'm not saying I want to kiss him, but you know what I mean. It would have been totally different. And so there are people who don't understand there's that difference, and then they would step out of their roles. They're now in their real life saying, mazeni likisu Wakio, like, Wakio yuko down bana. This is, for instance, come on, kiss Wakio acting as Mama Selina. Surely, what do you expect?
Utapata tu hiyo mama the character. Selina, there's nothing else.
Na labda pia yeye ameiva, wezi jua, but utapata tu hiyo character, you know. So I think I think Inya is one of those individuals who actually plays as the character and not as himself, which is really important. Do we now have intimacy coaches in Kenya on sets? Well, I don't know. I really don't know, because I haven't been coached, but I remember Nyokafi Mashare telling me about the film Chaguo, and she was in an intimate scene with Nick Quach, and she tells me how her director actually it must have been director Mbaya, how Mbaya took them through a process of preparing them for that intimacy. And some of the things that she mentioned, like looking at each other, staring at each other, admiring certain things about this person, and thinking about the character that she's playing and how she has affected your life, and getting emotional because of the things that have happened in your life with this person, and touching hands and looking into each other's eyes, a slow process towards that intimacy. I think is some of the things that I employed actually when I was with Makbul. We didn't do it like thoroughly because I was just told in passing, but we had a total conversation about our preparedness and how we feel about it. So we took the initiative to do it ourselves, but I think there are some directors who actually do guide you into it. Whether they are coaches or not, I'm yet to learn. Haven't seen one yet.
So that's an open space. Guys,
hiyo ni opportunity ya wera.
Tafuteni kueni intimacy coach.
Intimacy coaches kwa sababu kuna stance, kuna watu wanafundishanga stance. So yeah,
because I think intimacy coach, you act as both, to show the actors what to do when you have such scenes, but also not to go beyond what you're supposed to do.
Yes, and like also probably help them to get out of that scene afterwards. Yeah.
Especially when it's too good, you need to get out of this.
Okay, when is it too good though? I don't know.
The kiss is kissing. And someone has created their own relationships there. Okay. So you need to wake up.
Correct.
Now, you were featured in a Netflix animation. Take us through your journey of voice acting.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to correct you. I wasn't featured. I was starred.
Yes. Yes.
There's a guy who was telling us last week that just talk about what you do. Don't be embarrassed about what you do. There's a difference between talking about it and boasting about it. So yes, I was starred in This Is a True Story, the animation on Netflix Games. I am the voice of Bontu, who is a character in Search of Water. It's a beautiful narrative piece, one of its kind actually. There's not been another narrative kind of video game. How did I start voice acting? So, the first time I spoke into a microphone, it was in 1994. And I was in Kisumu, and we were doing, it was the school's national drama, schools and colleges
festival.
Yes. And I was doing a play by St. Augustine's Preparatory School called Uvundo. And in Uvundo, I was doing different characters. I was playing different characters. And I don't know how true this is, I hear that I was selected as Best Actor and Best Actress during the Nationals. And then when they asked for the names as they were trying to write the certificates, they were told it's the same person. And then they announced me as the Best Performing Artist for the primary school levels. And I was interviewed on radio, and I remember the feeling I got when that microphone was put in front of me was unexplainable. I knew there was something there, but I didn't know what it was, because for a long time, I didn't know if voice acting was a thing. I didn't even know anything like that existed. Then fast forward to university. In third year, they were doing a documentary. Mo University was doing a program together with a Belgium university. So they had a program called Vlir Ous, a program that was an interactive program between the two universities. And then they announced that they were looking for a voiceover artist, and they put it on the student center. And I applied, and we were selected. 64 of us were shortlisted. It was supposed to be done in English and Swahili. And then after we were shortlisted, we were brought in, and I was selected to do, ironically, English. And I was so sure if I'm getting this job, it's the Swahili.
Because your Swahili is fire.
I mean, I don't know what happened there. So they took me for English, and some other fourth year student was selected for the Swahili. Then the interesting thing is that they took us through the whole documentary production process. So we went with them to some of the sites, and I saw how they were collecting data. And then we went to the booth, and that was my happiest moment when I went into that booth. And I was so happy that I was in there. And immediately I started looking for opportunities to do something with the mic. And that's how I ended up doing Sayar FM. I walked into Bishop Ellie Rob's office, and I told him, you guys, I don't know what you're doing without me in your team.
You need me.
I'm really dope. And he was like, huh, who are you? And I think I was using it as a strategy to appear bold, and it actually
convinced him.
It convinced him, and he got me the job, and I started doing the job. And just being on radio and hearing my voice, and on radio, I just knew that this is something beautiful. And I didn't know how to pursue it. I just knew that maybe I should be in media. And so when I joined Nation Media Group, I was volunteering as a newsreader for Easy FM. I did that for quite a bit, and it kept opening up more opportunities for me as my voice came out to relevant stakeholders. And slowly by slowly, I started building a relationship with sound engineers and producers. And eventually, I set up my own studio at home.
Oh, nice. So everything, you do it there?
I do most of my work from home.
Do you produce it yourself?
Yes. Yeah. So you see, it's become a global. I think from 2020, everything became quite global and quite, you can do it from anywhere remotely as well. So I get clients from different places online, and sometimes referrals, a lot of referrals actually. I'm not very active with the online marketplaces, but a lot of referrals. And then I just record. Sometimes you have them joining with you in Zoom or Google Meet, and they give you directions if there's a director and whatnot. And sometimes I do go to studios because there are clients who believe in certain studios and the output from those studios. So I do go to studios as well.
Nice.
Lucky boy.
There's nothing I could add to that.
Really?
Yeah, stunning work.
So any podcast unajua vitu, people do things from home.
Oh,
to
yes.
go hapa.
To go home. Yes.
Now,
in this realm of voice acting, how do you prepare for a character considering you do not have stage cues or screen cues? So how do you cue yourself? How does it take place?
So voice acting, it depends with the genre that you're doing. So if it's radio dramas, of course, there'll be directions. It's just like a normal script, yeah? But then there'll be sound cues that will be added in later. So you go in, and this is where now you work out your imagination. I'm often telling people that we're in the business of imagination. So how you work out your imagination is very important as a voiceover actor, because sometimes you also don't get to see the director, the person who's actually giving you. Your first audience is supposed to be a director, and you don't get to see them as well. You're just hearing their instructions. So working out your imagination is very crucial. And I think the best way you work out your imagination is through reading. Be a person, be a reader. When you read more, especially novels and books that allow you to imagine the scenarios, to imagine that place, then you work out your imagination. I know the people who say, because I posted this once, and I remember Maurice Mwangi telling me, what about us who don't like reading? How do we work out your imagination? For me, that's what has worked for me, and I often share the things that have worked for me. Whether it's going to work for you or not, it was my style. It worked. You can employ something similar. Look for something that is similar for you, and work out that imagination. Because when you're in the booth, you're all by yourself. It's a very lonely place sometimes.
Yeah.
But for me, something else that I always do is I dress up for the character. I tell myself, how does this character look like? How do they sound? What will they be wearing maybe? And then I try and wear something very close to what I feel this character would be wearing. And I think that plays a big role. For me, even with the roles that I play, wardrobe is absolutely important for me and my transformation into that character. Yeah.
So while you're voicing different products for companies, which ones will you not voice?
So I categorically do not do alcohol brands. I think during 2020, that's when the devil wanted to get me.
Because these are the only jobs now
Let
available.
me tell you mine. Yani, I got a job. I was actually called by this guy called Edward Nyanaro. He's an agent. So Edward calls me and tells me there's a job here for something. I don't want to mention that alcohol brand because they'll be looking at me like, kumbe anywhere. So he called me and told me, Wakio, there's not been a lot of work, but there's a work here for, brand voice for this drink. And I'm like, okay, what drink is that? It's this and this. And I'm like, what drink is that? It's an alcohol brand. I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't do alcohol brands. And it was sad for both of us, I think.
Because, such deals comes with like 2-year kind of deal.
I know. And I think, like these big brands really do have the moolah.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So it's I don't know if I would want to revise it or I wouldn't want to revise it, but at this point still, I think I'm just comfortable not doing alcohol brands for now. Yeah.
So if I bring you something like condoms for protection, will you voice it?
The message is really important for me. What am I saying? Am I saying people should go out there and just have sex because they're using protection? That would not be my message. Is the message, if you really want to, you need to protect yourself? Still gray area, but yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
So the product and the messaging has to align with your
my
values.
stand, my values, my principles, what I believe in. Yeah. People should just wait until marriage.
Yeah. It is hard, guys.
Nganganeni.
Recently nominated for Sovas Awards.
My goodness.
Which is Voice Arts Awards. Tell us more about your nomination.
Boyo, this is extreme validation for the work that I've put in over the years. And I'm not trying to play down any other nomination or any other award that I have received. But for one, I never thought that I have a voice for animation. I knew my greatest strength was in narration and maybe audiobooks because of my teaching and explainers and things like that. I never thought of myself as a voiceover artist for animations. In fact, there's an animation that I produced and I never cast myself. And it was a personal project because I never believed myself to be that kind of person or that kind of voice. But then this animation audition comes through. Actually, it was a selection. And when I was called and I was told it's an animation, I'm like,
are you sure it is me?
What are we going to do in this animation? And then told me it's one of a kind. It's actually a narration. And I was like, God has put all my strengths in this one thing that I thought I would never be able to do. So that in itself was a big win for me, to know that we can actually do animations and games and video games totally different from the norm. And I'm a strong ambassador for doing things beyond the mainstream. Actually, I run my production called Beyond the Mainstream Storytellers. So it being beyond the mainstream was a fascinating thing for me. Sovas last year, I was a juror, was selected as one of the jurors. And their process of selecting who gets nominated, because I went through only the point of nominations. I was not one of the jurors doing the awards, selecting the people, the finalists to be the awards. But I was in the shifting.
Shortlisting.
Yes, I was shortlisting, getting the nominations, yeah. And it's the process for me that really made me feel very confident, even wanting to be a nominee. And so when I was selected, I knew that this has gone through a process that is not about popularity. It's not a popularity contest at all. And even the finalists are going to be selected by certain jurors. And it's not about how many followers you have or how loud you can be about your nomination or your win. Yes, be loud about it because it's a grand achievement.
Yes.
But it's not going to influence
the final
decision. Tallies and the decisions. And I think that's beautiful for me on a global scale to be among, the creme de la creme. I think one of the people that I really looked up to is Chilu, and Chilu has been winning the Sovas for a long time. He's based abroad, but he comes from Nigeria, I think, or Ghana, one of the two, from West Africa. Let me play safe, from West Africa. And just seeing him flourish and take up that global space has been something I've really admired. And I really cannot wait to be one of his disciples and, take on that global space, because I think Plus 254 has so much to offer in terms of talent for the voice industry. And I think this is one of the industry that is absolutely not noticed, but absolutely organized. Oh my goodness. Boy, Voice Actors League of Kenya is the most organized group of union people I have ever seen.
So the association is working.
It is working for us. It is absolutely working for us. We have constant communications. We have workshops that we are doing regularly. We have interactions with new people. We have in-person and online workshops that we are running. We are actually engaging with the world of voiceover, not just our Kenyan thingy, because we've been participating in Voiceover Africa for the second year now. And next year, we're also going to be participating. We are recognized by the region as an industry, as a group that is working. In fact, we do have some people from different parts of Africa who are in VALC. So it's growing in that nature, and even the interactions with Sovas, and that's how we got to even know about Sovas, because we are participating, we are active in the industry globally, and that's beautiful to see. I just wish also the ministries, the creative economy, and also culture to some extent might see the work and also help us to develop it even further. For the first time actually this year, the Kenya Theatre
Awards?
No, the Kenya International Theatre Festival, which I was an ambassador for this year, we were able to do a whole installation for an audio play, which was running throughout the festival, and we got really good feedback. Last year we had the participants doing like 4 days, but this year we had a whole week, 2 weeks of training, and the output was amazing. So yes, the audio industry is getting more visibility within the larger creative sector.
Mm-hmm. So if someone was to join this industry, what's the first step they should take?
Join Voice Actors League of Kenya. That's I tell everybody that you have to join the Voice Actors League of Kenya, because
is there a cover charge?
Yes, we pay 500 shillings subscription fee for annually. Which, honestly, when you think about it, what you're going to get, it's quite affordable, because you get trainings, you get access to voiceover actors who've been there for a long time, coaches who are there. You get to share your samples, and you get positive and negative criticism, like generally just criticism that's going to build you. You get to attend workshops, you get to attend trainings, you get to network and learn how to even set up your own studio. We have Tech Tuesday, we have Motivational Mondays. It's just amazing being in that group. And I think that's the first place anyone who wants to be a voiceover actor needs to visit Voice Actors League of Kenya. You can find it on Facebook, you can find it on Instagram, you can get the contact, you can DM me, I give you the contact for Jennifer Canary, and she can take you through how to join, and you grow from there.
When the social media
watu wajitume, lakini watu wajitume, cause
drop inbox
boyo kuna watu wanakwambia I am such an amazing actor, I'm waiting for an opportunity.
I know that opportunity won't come.
It will never.
You have to take the step.
Exactly. And if you're joining an industry, especially like voice, which is non-mainstream, there's not a lot of it, a lot known about it, you really need to research and ask questions and probe, be curious and find out what works and what doesn't work, and then yingize mzima mzima. Sips chamomile.
Now let's talk directing, producing. What drew you to that?
What drew me to directing
and producing?
I remember when we were doing Selina, I told Ruben Odanga, could I come and shadow you and watch, how you're doing it? And I did for a few days. And then I felt like, maybe because I'm in this show, it doesn't feel right, you know, like I'm a bit holding back in terms of asking questions and my participation, because, you know, tomorrow I will be on the other side being directed. So it felt, but then I remember when we were doing Breathe 3. That's a play by Back to Basics.
Yes.
And Mbeki Mwalimu just tasked me to direct a scene. Because, you know, how we usually do our plays, we like workshop like this, you give your ideas, nini. I think akaona, udema kona matu idea.
An idea sana.
An idea sana, wacha tumjaribu. Akanipatia scene moja kudirect. After nimedirect your scene, nilifeel, hii ni kitu tamu sana. Like to have this vision and then these amazing actors bring it to life and they do exceedingly more than you actually expected. Nikaona tu kitu ni fiti. And then akaniambia, next nataka ufanye sasa a whole play. Imagine, from a scene to a play.
So after Breathe 3 you did your
Market
own
Price. Yake tu bado ya Back to Basics. We did Market Price, and Market Price had a humongous cast. But I think when she told me that, Wakio, you can do it, I said, why not?
That's a good way to answer it.
I did it, and I did it. And I brought all my craziness to that production. And najua Kenya Theatre Awards ziko karibu, and I hope we have nominations, inshallah. Inshallah. And then after that, I did my own play when I started Beyond the Mainstream Storytellers on the 9th of June this year. I did a production, so two-hander between myself and Senjen, which I directed, I produced, and I wrote. I'm not a writer, and I think that was the most frustrating bit of that project, because I wasn't able to lock down a writer, and it was really frustrating me. Then on this day, I was at the National Theatre. I meet Martin Kigondo, who's a prolific writer himself and a director as well, and a performer. And I meet him and I tell Martin Kigondo, mazee niko na project lakini mazee writer sijapata writers wananipeleka hivi hawana motivation ama wanielewi ama sijui ni nini. Martin told me, write it. And I was like, I'm not a writer. Wrong answer. You can write it. And then I wrote it. Kibati paka leo, na nimeperform hiyo play mara 2, sijamaliza kuandika pale mwisho wana improvise, yani
part the next
hiyo part ya mwisho inakuanga tu by the ni mimi na Mungu wangu. But it's a story I know very well. It's a personal story, so it's easier to carry it, you know, without even the script. But nitamaliza script, wadau, nitamaliza.
I think it's more of improving from what you have written. It's not about perfection. Just improving.
Uko deep. So kunywa chai yangu basi.
Kama maili nitulize. What will you say is exciting or frustrating about the industry now?
I think it's one thing that is both exciting and also frustrating. The unpredictability of the industry is both exciting and also very frustrating. Exciting in the sense that you don't know what's going to happen next. Even on a script, for instance, like right now I'm doing a show called Gigi, and it's coming out on Netflix. Netflix. Nimeiombea inaenda Showmax. Ni ya Showmax watu wangu. It's coming out on Showmax, and there are 90 episodes, but you don't have all the 90 scripts. And so that there's also unpredictability there that is very exciting when you're preparing for this character, because you don't know if this person is going to be in episode 80, or if this person is going to be, you know, what's going to happen to their life, what is their story. You know the general thing, but you don't know the nitty-gritties. Yeah. That's exciting. But also, on the flip side, you could be dying. And I see myself actually. Nimeanza kwa mgonjwa. Mara kifua, mara sijui na mgongo, sijui kohoa.
Upone kwa hosi.
So kuna hiyo pia, you know, kwa show inaweza kuwa ina add value sana wewe kwa mgonjwa, lakini kibiashara it's really going to hurt you, because you will not be actually doing the job. So that unpredictability is an exciting thing. It's like an adrenaline rush. You don't know, you don't know, you're not sure, but it calls for a lot of planning when it comes to the financial part of it, of the business. That because you're not sure if you're going to have this job for how long, whatever you have now, you really need to plan ahead. You need to start thinking about your future. You need to start thinking about other revenue streams, even within the creative sector, and what you can explore as an actor other than just performing on screen. Maybe you can try and jipange na stage performances 2-3 hivi, nenda auditions, adverts, vitu kama hizo, jaribu pia voice acting na huko kidogo, changanya alafu ndio it can help you when, let's say you're in a long term project alafu inaisha ghafla bimvu, ama inaisha tu. For instance, Kina ilikuja kaisha, Selina pia kuja kaisha, Makutano Junction ilikuja kaisha. So ikiisha alafu hilo swali lazima uko unajiuliza, sasa zile unaanza tu, ikiisha halafu
Nikimagine hiyo space gaps in between
kunaweza kuwa kubaya.
Yes. Kwanza iki stretch to a year or 6 months unplanned.
It has stretched that long, lakini kama pia hujajipanga vizuri. Ukijipanga vizuri hutakosa tu kazi 2-3. Like voicing hapa plus nini hapa kidogo perform. Unajua pia ukijilimi tukisema ati mimi siwezi chukua roles zenye si lead roles.
Wejikaranga.
Taumia. So be open, and whatever role you get, give it the 120. Give it all. Someone is bound to notice.
Mama boys, what has parenting taught you?
Niko na msichana pia.
I didn't know.
Watoto ni 3.
Mimi nilijua.
So yes, I have 2. Yes, wao ndo najulikana sana because they are the first 2. I had to, the first 2 are boys, and then niko na huyo msichana wangu mdogo. Msichana yani, watoto nawapenda jamani. Let me tell you, parenting is such a beautiful task. It's daunting, but it's beautiful. And it's beautiful in this sense. Just the other day, my kids at my brother's place, nilienda nika buy crisps na tu sweetie nini pale Carrefour. Wajua Carrefour and we are not marketing them, lakini wanakuangana vitu za kiajabu nzuri. So ukinunua pia mtoto wako anasema mama aliput effort hapa So nikaenda nikanunua vitu 2-3 nikawapelekea pale kwa brother yangu, nikamwambia nyinyi watoto ni wazuri, nataka mjifanyie kabash, mfurahi tu, because I think also as parents we need to appreciate when our children put in the work. Because sisi tukiwa kazini, like when I was in corporate, unangoja appraisal, unaambiwa umefanya kazi vizuri hivi bonus. Wakati tuna raise watoto wetu, we don't applaud them that way. We don't notice, kama watoto wangu wanisumbui tu, but you don't encourage them. Huambia ni hiyo mnafanya si kawaida. Kuna watoto wengine wanasumbua.
Mimi mama mtu.
Imagine, wapatie pongezi. Once in a while, just surprise them and tell them, you guys, kumbe, nashukuru, you're making my work so much easier. So pokeni, furahini, ndeni mjibambe mfurahi nini. So, my parent, and I handle like everything else really like a mom. And people who've worked with me would tell you, like, I handle like a production, I would handle it like a mom. Even when I'm directing, I handle all of them like my children, all these actors. And I know that as a mom, I wish them all the best. I want the best out of all of them. But I also recognize that they have different personalities and different roles to play. And so I want to nurture that particular role that you're playing and your personality, and make sure that you flourish and you're able to be successful in whatever you are planning to, in all the goals that you plan to achieve. And it's the way I handle my children. And I love the diversity within my family, and they have all different characters. But I really enjoy parenting. I I enjoy being their mom. I enjoy them calling me. I enjoy them driving me crazy. And sometimes when I'm away, I would call them and tell them, guys, man, I really miss being harassed by you people. And they're like, oh, you miss our craziness. I'm like, I miss it. My God, I didn't think I'd ever miss it, but I miss it so much. And they grow so fast. Very soon, my eldest is turning 13. And very soon, they'll be kuachana kidogo because ajua ni kaboy kanaingia adolescence ni nini. Labda atakuwa anajitenga kidogo. But right now, I'm enjoying the hugs. I'm enjoying the kisses. And I love it. I love it.
I think it's worth it being a mom.
Ni responsibility kubwa, lakini imagine a whole human being who, when you think about it, huyu ni mtu atakuja ya kuwa na watoto. Vile atalea watoto wake imetoka kutoka kwako.
Yeah.
So your responsibility is actually bigger than this immediate family. It's actually for generations. Yes.
Yeah.
So, brace yourself. If you want to be a mom, brace yourself.
How do you stay creatively inspired, considering the longevity of yourself in the industry?
I love that question. One, I live in the middle of nowhere. So I'm always having a road trip to my place and back to Nairobi. And that in itself, like when you drive for long distances and you're seeing, city meisha, shrub. Okay, hakuna kitu, zebra, nini. Inakubadilisha perspective. And I always feel like whenever you remove an artist from their place of comfort and take them somewhere, because I'm a city girl. I've been born and raised in a town. I've never lived in a rural setup. My mother also kind of born and raised in town. Even her ameenda kuishi Ushago only Uzeeni. So that shift for me has really helped me to ignite curiosity, which results to creativity. Also, I take time to invest in every character that I play. Stakangi tu kuchukua character ovyo tu na kuibeba kimalamala. Huyu ni mtu na maisha yake, na hisia, na msimamo, na mtazamo pia, na ambition. So the more I take time to craft or to chisel that character, the more authentic the performance is. And the more the more even producers feel like this is someone to kimweta on board, hata tuletea tu ile character yake ile pale nini. Hata copy paste zile tabia zake za pale. Although kuna tu characters wengine unaweza iba from Mama Selina, useme Mama Selina alikuwa ni poa for hii character, acha niibe kidogo hapo, lakini haitakuwa completely huyo character mwenye ulimcheza before. So your dynamic nature of how you bring in your characters is very important. But I think the most important thing for any creative is to be a kind person, especially on set. And if you bring negative energy, watu watakuchoka. And you might be a prolific performer, but because you're not making any financial sense for the producer, because wewe ni wa kuchelewa, hatari kwa kuchelewa. Wewe ni hatari, haunaga lines. Wewe ni hatari wa demands ambazo pia zile. Kwa sababu zingine pia, yes, kuna zile minimum yenye mtu lazima ukuwe nazo, but kuna pia demands zingine huwa zimevuka mpaka.
Yeah.
Alafu umezileta na bado you're not productive in that sense. Pia producer naona, yes, sawa ni actor mnoma, lakini hatuwezi shinda tukishoot scene moja for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So tutafute mtu mwingine ama moving forward. Alafu industry ni ndogo, people talk. Yeah. So if you don't carry yourself with the professionalism that you purport to demand from the producer, then you're just being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And you need to know that acting is not pretending. Acting is actually living an authentic life, lending yourself to this imaginary character to live an authentic life. So hypocrisy should not be part of you. Usikue mtu ambao una preach lazima tukue na hizi standards kwa sets zetu, lakini we mwenyewe unajibeba vipi. And because people talk, utaona tu kidogo mara hujaitiwa kazi, kidogo au itui auditions, kidogo asikia tu project imerun. Utajipata tu unatengwa pole because everyone wants to work with someone they enjoy working with, especially projects ambazo go for a long time. Ukiwa na mtu kichwa kigumu utachoka. And it will ripple effect to your family as well. Utarudi nyumbani umekasirika. Utarudi nyumbani sijui na ita ripple effect pia kwa caterers, ripple effect kwa set designer. Kila mtu ni hasira na hasara.
Are there roles you've done, or maybe one role you have done, that holds a special place in your heart?
Let me use Martin Kigondo's words. It is like saying who is my favorite child.
Yeah.
Because
or maybe favorite child of the season.
Hey, even worse.
Even worse.
But I would say every role, and I'm going to pick one eventually, but I would say every role, I think because I'm a firm believer in God placing me in the right place at the right time, every role that I've played at a certain season has been important for that season of my life. And there's this show coming out called Shamba la Wanyama. It's actually out on Viusasa. It might be going to Citizen, not sure, but yeah, hoping. And that particular show was very critical in the season that I was in. Some lines I remember saying, and I was like, I have said this as Wakio. I've called a friend and said this. And some scenarios that were in that production are very real and very vivid for me. And it was a very daunting task getting into that character, because I often want to leave myself behind and lend myself to this character, but I kept feeling that there was so much of me that
sipping through
that character. Maybe gave it some level of authenticity, also gave me some level of healing as I was doing that character. I forget your question. What did you ask again?
Is there a specific role that you hold a special?
No,
it's okay.
Sawa, nimerudi. So yes, every role has been important for the season that I'm in. But there is the role I played. There are two actually. So there's one role that I played in a play with Back to Basics, where I was depicting the life of a Congolese refugee at Kakuma refugee camp. And she was talking about her journey of how she left DRC and how she walked through the villages and meeting all these rebels, and how she ended up being a rebel's wife. And obviously, that's not like a good thing. And how she almost lost her baby because the child was to be boiled and eaten by the rebels, and how she went through multiple cases of rape, including her children as well. They were all gang raped together, and her experiences from DRC to the Kakuma camp were really painful, to say the least. And why this performance is actually very memorable for me is because this character did not move. She sat down in a corner at Alliance Française Auditorium, and she took the audiences through her journey, seated in that place the whole time, not even moving. And I think that's where I really got to employ the power of my voice. And that's where the voice acting kind of came into place as well, because now I'm not using movements. And so to grasp the audience emotionally and to have them invested in this story emotionally really took the power of the voice and the power of genuine storytelling. The rest of the actors were depicting it on stage once in a while, but I really felt like I got to embody something that I value so much in terms of my craft, which is my voice. And I got to utilize it on stage in a magnificent way. That was really powerful for me. The only time this lady actually got to move was at the end of it, when she picked a bottle of soda, Fanta bottle, and just took a sip. And that was it.
Wow.
Oh, I loved it.
How many hours on stage?
It wasn't hours. It was probably around 40 minutes, 50 minutes, because it was part of a different monologues that were being said together. Yeah, it was stories
Still
by
a
Biko
long
Zulu.
time.
Yeah.
50 minutes, that's almost an hour.
Yeah, it was quite a bit, but I really, really enjoyed it. The second one was the one that I did recently from the 9th. I did it on the 9th of June, and I did it on the 5th of November at the Kid Fest. And this was a personal story. It was a story of my experiences in high school and how I almost flunked at my exams because of an accusation that was unfounded. And I related it with experiences from my dad's stint in jail. So I was like just merging the two stories together. I think because it was a personal story, it's very memorable for me. Yeah, and it's gotten a lot of people talking about rebuilding their relationships with their fathers, and I feel honored that that it was able to change people's lives and shift perspectives in that nature. In fact, 2 days ago, I got a message from a group of people who came to watch the play during Kid Fest from Safaricom. It was a team of around 10 people. And they told me how the story just sparked conversations, and they're doing a visit, they're doing a drive going to a prison on the 9th of December. I hope to be part of the team. And they just want to give back because they realize that even if they had, in fact, she told me something, that I have had a relative who's been in prison for 18 years. And Wakio, I'm telling you, I've never thought about them.
So sad.
And often we do that because they're criminals. But sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they're innocent but still behind the bars. And sometimes even if they're guilty, they still want to play their different roles that they were playing before. They still want to be a father. They still want to be a husband, albeit, away from you. They still want to be a brother. They still want to be a sister. Yes, they've done something wrong, but they still want those relationships. And I think that play opened up the possibilities of, you could have been guilty, I really don't care, but you stepped up as a father. And that's all that mattered.
Because we only see it one angle. You're guilty, now we cut you off the society and you stay there.
And we forget about you.
And even if you come out, people don't want any association.
Yes, and it's very hard for them actually to integrate. Some of them even been there for 6 months, not even long, but just 6 months, and already if your wife was in the women's guild, she's being told, hey, you are equally yoked with an unbeliever, those kind of things.
So sad. Parting words.
Oh wow,
it's an hour.
I can't believe it. Parting words. I'm a believer of God, and I think in everything I pursue, I want God to bless the work of my hands. And the question is to all of you out there, whatever you're pursuing it, are you pursuing it with excellence? Are you doing it in a way or in a manner in which God can actually say, I can bless this work of your hands? And so do it with excellence, whatever it is. Even if it's, especially in the art space, if you feel it's small, it's not. Do it with excellence. You feel it's big, it might be, but maybe it's not. Do it with excellence. Just do everything with excellence, and you will be lifted up. The word of God is very clear that when you humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, he will lift you up. And when he lifts you up, acknowledge that you've been lifted up. And in that space, what do? Stretch out your hand and lift somebody up. Spiritually, emotionally. Sometimes it might need you financially, but also in terms of your craft. Don't be that person who stays with your craft forever. Learn to share. Learn to pass on the baton. And that's how we grow, because when you have an apprentice, they put you on your toes. They're always asking you questions and making you even sharpen your craft even more. So yeah, pursue it with excellence. That's all.
So much wisdom.
Hey! So much chamomile tea. I'm coming here again.
Karibu tena. Thank you so much, Wakio,
Asante.
for coming. Short notice, you came chap.
By then likuja kuchelewa.
No, but
nimesema actors have to be there on time.
Yeah.
But leo nimekuja kuchelewa na apologize profusely. So umeelewa kwa nini?
Nimeelewa kwa nini.
But it should not be an excuse. Watu wajipange, toka kwako 4 kama inabidi.
So, thank you guys for watching the episode. Subscribe. I will see you guys on the next one. Kwaheri.